celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Welcome, my friend. On the show today, Tick Talk. We're going to find out about what's the deal with ticks, these ugly little creatures. How do you get rid of them? Because there's a lot of myths on how you get rid of ticks that are absolutely wrong and actually could cause more damage. So Doc Halligan will be back to tell us all about ticks.
I have a Lyme disease pet got bit by a tick, and it's not fun. I mean, they basically go lame, they can't walk, they're in a lot of pain, and they got to be on antibiotics. And if you don't catch it soon, it's actually really bad on their liver. So
really,
wow.
Did you? What happened for you?
We caught it soon. Well, the way that we caught it was. My dog stopped basically walking, was limping. So
just got lame.
Okay. As soon as you see that, you think that, well, what'd they do? Did somebody step on the dog's foot? Did he hurt the leg somehow? And then a couple of days later, it was another leg. So we brought it to the veterinarian.
Yeah, it rotates.
And the vet said, you know what? Let me do a Lyme test on him. And he came up Lyme. And they put them on some sort of antibiotics, and within a couple of days was totally back to normal. But every 6 months he has to go back on a cycle of antibiotics. If he doesn't, the same thing happens. And I don't know for how long, but we did catch it in time. He said if you don't catch it in time, a lot of dogs will die.
It's really important you listen today with Doc Halligan in just a few minutes as she tells us all about the tick. Also, you may have heard about this. We are now cloning in the U.S. The U.S. is now cloning pets, dogs, cats, and also doing genetic preservation. And we're going to be talking to a company that does that.
I guess they've been doing big animals for a while now. Now I think it's just into the domestic pets.
Yeah, they've been doing domestic pets in China and these other countries. So the first time it's really on U.S. soil right now. So we'll find out more about that in just a couple of minutes. Also, if you're a cat owner, you probably already know this, but there's a certain place that you can pet your cats and places that you can't pet your cats because they just... they'll freak out if you pet them in the wrong places, even if you have a great relationship with them and you've taken them out to dinner first. On the show, Sarah Ellis will be joining us. She's a feline behavior expert, and she'll tell us where we can pet our cats exactly.
You can stroke me here, but not there.
Yeah. I just realized how similar ex-wives and cats are. It just struck me right there. Didn't realize that. Also, Robert Semro is on the show, and he has 5 things you must know about pet bowls. These are the bowls you...
there are things to know about
apparently
a bowl?
there is something to know about. 5 things to know. And they're important things, so important that he's made a segment out of that, and that's coming up in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. Joey Villani, the dog father, what do you got for today's show?
Well, we're going to talk about if it's good to bathe your pet that has a skin condition often or not often at all. So we'll figure that one out.
Yeah, it all depends on who you ask usually. Some people say you can't bathe your animals too often.
Well, listen, there's only one person to ask, okay?
And that's the dog father.
If you sit there and you listen, you'll know what to do.
Okay, that's on the way right here on Animal Radio. What do you say we go take some calls for Dr. Debbie?
Let's do it.
I believe we're going to line 4, and we have Troy on the line. Hey, Troy, what's up?
Hey, I was wondering about Dynavite. Is that really true about what all it does? Or?
Oh, that's the greatest question out there. Well, hey, Troy, thank you for calling. As far as with Dynavite or a lot of these other nutritional supplements are out there, that's the hardest thing to prove is, how do these things work and do they work? I'd have to say that a lot of veterinarians are skeptical when a product comes out and claims a lot of these big claims that they do. And I'd have to say there's some good things that come out of some of these supplements. And I know I've said this before on show, that, there are some components that may be of value for some pets. Things like zinc can be helpful for some pets that have zinc-related skin problems, fatty acid problems. But, the overall thing is that, it's a supplement. Some dogs, I'd say the cons of this product, I've had some clients tell me that the pet finds it offensive in taste, which does no good, and can be costly. So I'd have to say use with caution, not because I think it's going to hurt an animal, but I have a hard time getting sold into a product that's going to cure everything from allergies to itching to, your pet's bad breath and gas problems. So that's my honest opinion there.
My dog's like a short-haired dog, and he seems like he loses more hair, and then and it looks like he'd lose all his hair, but he don't. But he itches all the time in the summertime.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What part of the country are you in?
Kansas.
In Kansas. Okay. Well, you're definitely in areas where we do have some parasites like fleas. So that's the number one thing. If you're seeing like an itching at a seasonal time of the year, I'd make sure we're using good flea control products. And short-haired dogs, the crazy thing is short-haired dogs shed a ton, and they do have just this constant loss of hair replaced with new hair. And I've actually had Labradors that come to my clinic, and we can just see tufts and balls of hair leaving or after they leave that are in the room. So it is somewhat the nature. If you do regular brushing, keep on a good healthy diet, do you need a supplement? Most people don't. Most dogs don't. If there's something we need to treat more appropriately, a medical problem or maybe an allergy issue, then I'd kind of gear our direction that way.
What kind of diet does your dog have?
Pedigree. I gave him pedigree and some dry food.
Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of times when you give those supplements, if you just feed a basic diet, a good diet, you can avoid that kind of stuff.
I was going to say, in some areas, like out in the desert here, we do have a really dry climate, and some pets can be a bit dry in certain situations. So I will often use things like fatty acids, and there are some fatty acids in Dinovite. Granted, they're not my favorite. They're more out of the flaxseed family versus fish oils. But some of those things can be very useful for just that kind of mild dryness or itching that a pet has.
Yeah.
I know. It sounds easier to put something in the food to make all the ailments go away, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's getting older. He's about 10 years old, and the vet's been giving him allergy shots. It seems like every month he needs one.
Oh, that's a bit frequent. So he's getting a steroid shot then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit much. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot more that can be done for allergies than just that steroid shot, but it takes a little work. It takes a little motivation to make sure you kind of look into the problem. But it is easy to give steroids, and unfortunately, even us as veterinarians, we use that crutch sometimes too much because it's easier to do that to get to the root of the problem. So I wish we had more time because there's a lot we could get into as far as hypoallergenic diets, testing for allergies, things along those lines that we can really get into to try to get to the root of the problem. So come on out to Vegas. We'll set you up.
Want to take a second to thank the underwriters that make this show possible, like Fear-Free Happy Homes, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com. And thanks, Fear-Free, for underwriting Animal Radio. Hey, Bill, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Good. Where are you today?
Well, right now I am in Texas.
Texas? You must be a trucker?
Yes, I am. Hold on a second.
Oh, man. He's got trucker attitude there.
I like that. It's my kind of trucker. So do you travel with your pet?
Actually, no, I'm not. My wife works at an animal hospital in the Tampa Bay area.
Oh.
And she got bit by a German Shepherd today.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, she got bit pretty good on the back of her right hand. When I talked to her at noon, which was about 2 hours after it happened, it hadn't swollen up yet. But I talked to her about 3, which was about 3 hours later, and she said it had started swelling up. If she hadn't taken the ring off of her hand, that she would have had to have it cut off. So,
oh, dear.
Good thing she did that.
Anyone working in the animal field, it's a very common risk we suffer. And you mentioned the ring thing, and I went through this myself where I had a, minuscule little cat bite, and over the course of a day, my finger started swelling up, and crazy nurse Ratchet, I called her, she wanted to cut my ring off, my engagement ring, and there was no way in heck I was going to let that happen. I was in tears over this, but eventually she got the butter to get the ring off my finger, and I got treated, but I digress here. But yeah, so they can...
My wedding ring's a tattoo, so it don't matter about that one.
Yeah, and any bite, dog bites, cat bites, have the potential to get very serious, and they can't escalate very fast. So, the first and foremost thing is I would definitely encourage, her to get medical attention. And of course, a lot of times I get asked human medical things, so I can't technically tell her what she should do medically, but I can definitely give you my advice that these can get very serious very fast. And as an employer of people in the veterinary industry, I'd say it's also a liability as a, practice owner. I had a guy who, he got a little bite on a dog, bit his tip of his fingernail, and he didn't tell me, refused to go see the doctor. He almost lost the tip of his finger because he was trying to not disclose this injury to me, and it really put him in jeopardy. So, yeah, I would definitely encourage her to get attention.
Now, people don't disclose this because they're afraid of the consequences sometimes. Do you have to report those, Doc?
Technically, if there's any bite, it should be reported, but the ones that require medical attention are generally the ones where it's most important, because then you get, the human medical field together, and they have pretty strict regulations upon that, just to ensure public health, make sure everyone's current on their rabies vaccination, and, to kind of look at the context of the bite as well, because, this could be anything in the veterinary world. I have dogs that don't like my glove approach and would want to bite me, and that's not an aggressive dog. It's just a fear reaction there.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too. Does your dog have really bad breath? I mean really bad breath. Bad breath in a dog could mean periodontal disease, which left untreated can be very dangerous to the overall health of your pet. Small dogs are extra prone to dental problems because their teeth are so close together. Your dog should have his teeth examined once a year by a vet, and you can help prevent plaque buildup by brushing your dog's teeth at least twice a week. It's not as bad as it sounds. Any pet supply store can set you up with a special pet toothbrush and toothpaste. Don't use human toothpaste. It's not made to swallow. The dog toothpaste tastes good, to a dog, and your dog will actually grow to enjoy it. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio. Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
Here at Animal Radio, all of us have pets, our very own pets. And whenever we run into a pet product that we just think is exceptional, we want to share it with you. And of course, we use all these products that we talk about. You've probably heard us raving about the WizSmart Premium Pee Pads. And in fact, we just got a new puppy and we've been talking about it. But did you know that older dogs, small dogs, and dogs with medical issues could really benefit from having an indoor bathroom?
I truly believe that. With all the medical advancements, our dogs are living longer and we have a lot more senior dogs, and it's nice having a place for them to go indoors. And regardless of your age of your puppy, you know how we leave our dog alone for a little bit, say we're going to be gone just an hour and something comes up and we're gone 2 or 3 hours. It is so nice to have a place for your dog to go so you don't have to rush and leave appointments early, and you can let your dog go and not get stressed out because they don't have a place to go and they're waiting for you to come home.
Even more, there's studies that suggest that it actually might be better for your dogs to relieve themselves indoors so they don't have to hold it for as long when you're not home. There's potential health risks if they hold it in, urinary tract infections, crystals, stones, as well as behavior problems.
Our puppy's 5 months. We've been using them for several months now, and I have to say, they have never once leaked. They don't leak, and my dog can use it several times. It's not one of those real thin ones where as soon as they go, they track it all over the house and you have to pick it up real fast. These you can leave down for several uses, and they do not leak.
Yeah, we change ours like once a day. They say it holds up to 8 cups. I believe that.
I haven't tested that yet, but I think it's true.
We should test that. Now, we haven't tried any of their other stuff. They have top-notch doggy diapers for female dogs and doggy wraps for male dogs. A whole wonderful line of stuff over at WizSmart.com. That's WizSmart.com. WizSmart.com.
Hi, this is Joyce DeWitt on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your animals. Thank you.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets, and sometimes a very controversial subject. In just a few minutes, we're going to talk to a company that clones animals right here in the United States, a practice that's brand new as far as I know. They've been cloning bigger animals, I
think so,
understand,
yes.
but, companion animals, pets, cats, and dogs, and they'll be on the air with us in just a few minutes. Also on the way, Robert Semro with 5 things you must know about pet bowls. I think it's a great tease because
we're trying to come up with five
what
things.
What are 5 things? But apparently there are some very important things you need to know about your pet bowls on the way.
Absolutely.
Well, apparently it's needed because we don't have a clue what those 5 things could be.
I could take some guesses.
Yeah, I could too.
Absolutely. I think the same here. I wonder what his angle's going to be.
Yeah, well, we'll find out in just a couple of minutes. Of course, we mentioned earlier that Molly, the studio dog, sorry, it's in her contract that every time we mention Molly, the studio dog now, it must accompany this theme right here. It's very strange, but as we had mentioned, she just got a role in a play.
Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde play. She plays Bruiser, and this is her first acting gig. So this will be this is where she'll get her SAG-AFTRA card, I assume. And so she's come into the studio this last week. She's been a little bit she has some demands. The demands, of course, are about the squeaky toy. You probably heard about that earlier. She must have the squeaky toy available at all times, whenever she wants.
And she raided Ladybug's closet for all her pink outfits and pink collars. She took all her pink stuff.
Ladybug has moved down the
Does she share well, though? I don't know. I mean,
she's
Ladybug doesn't. I don't take her for one that's going to share well.
Yeah, that's just not the way it's working.
You take it from Ladybug, you got to keep it. You can't share it. She won't share.
That won't work. So if you think that this is crazy, you should be here with us just to see how Molly. Is it every time?
Oh, come
every time
on.
I gotta do that?
Who would know?
Okay. Well, she'll know. She'll tell me after the show. Oh, by the way, I wanted to welcome KTRS in St. Louis, Missouri. This is normal wackiness for us here at Animal Radio. If you have a pet, call in and check in with us today. We do this every weekend. We have Dr. Debbie over here. She's answering your vet medical questions, and dog father Joey Villani. Lori, what are you working on over there in the newsroom?
Well, got a couple of stories. One, very useful. It's springtime out, and, there's a lot of plants and flowers and things that are blooming, and which might be harmful to your pet. We'll tell you which ones. And there's this new animal-friendly dog collar or cat collar out there. They make all different sizes, but they come with something matching for the human.
Oh, you got my
I'm
attention.
into matching.
Yes, you got my attention.
You like all that kind of stuff.
Yes, if I can match my puppy, I think that's just so cute.
Dr. Debbie,
it is cute.
This is the time of the season where the foxtails are becoming pretty prevalent. I'm sure you see them in the office several times a day.
All over our neighborhood.
Yeah, and you know what? People are surprised to understand that they don't think they have foxtails in their immediate yard, so there's no danger of that. But, for the bulk of many dogs, we take them for walks. They go to the park, they run around, these are kind of plant materials that are actually very common. It's not like some invasive weed that takes over your yard and you're going to know about it. It really is. They're common grasses and weeds that put off these little things, and they have a one-way ticket, and they get stuck wherever they lodge themselves into. Ears, feet, skin, vaginal areas I've actually seen as well.
How many do you remove a week, do you think?
Oh, we probably don't get through a week without having one. But at this time of the year, definitely a lot more. And I'd have to say, if your dog has a very sudden head shaking, scratching, all of a sudden out of nowhere, especially if they haven't had a history of previous ear infections, then you really need to get your pet checked, because that is often a presentation for a foxtail in the ear. It's just a very sudden onset of an ear infection with a lot of discomfort.
Are they airborne? Can they fly into land and still get embedded, or do they have to brush against the actual plant?
Usually they're passing by and brushing by it. So we do tend to see it a lot in the feet, kind of in the neck. And that's why sometimes, the back parts, the hindquarters, we'll see that there. Dogs stick their heads down into grasses, and that's where their ears get exposed. They certainly can be spread by the wind, because any good Mother Nature's device for flowering or dispensing seeds is dispersed by the wind as well. But I'd say the majority of it is just dogs kind of in those environments, nosing around and getting their heads, their nose, their butts where it shouldn't be.
The big question on the phone lines this week was about that darn dog flu, because there's a brand new strain this year. A couple of years ago it was the H3N2, which there is an injection or a vaccination for. There's actually preventative vaccinations now for both of them, the H3N8, which is the latest. Your animals may not even show any signs at all, but if they have high fever, runny nose, lethargy, you definitely want to get them to the vet. And, of course, this is traveling across the country at breakneck speed. This week we announced the 27th state, Montana and Missouri, 27th and 28th state to have confirmed cases of the canine flu. And here's the deal. If you get the vaccination now, you pay about $50. and it's done in 2 parts. If they get sick, it costs a lot more to deal with it. It's really only fatal in those that have like autoimmune, compromised immune, elderly,
seniors, and the really young.
Yeah.
And the cats, they cannot catch it.
Really?
Not this one, not H3N8, but there has been documented cases of the H3N2 virus being in cats. So there you go. That's the latest on the old flu. Can we just file that away somewhere?
I thought H3N2 was the bird flu.
I think that was it from the avian flu. That was the original one, I believe. It came from there.
Did it?
I believe so.
Oh, I learned so much on this show.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Dr. Paul on Incredible Radio. Is that what it is?
Animal Radio.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hello, this is Dr. Paul on Animal Radio. Take care of the pets and make sure that in these hot days that they get in lots of water and don't tie them outside in the sun because then they get a heat stroke.
How would you like to save money on nearly all your prescription drugs? We've set up a special toll-free number for the RX Outreach Program. They're a nonprofit company whose mission it is to make prescription drugs more affordable to the masses. They don't take insurance, and in many cases, your prescriptions are even cheaper than your co-pays. They carry thousands of different prescription drugs, so whatever you're taking, there's a good chance they have it. No coupons are required, and this is not a discount card. It is pure savings on your prescription drugs. They specialize in generic meds for any chronic health needs you have. Call with your prescription and find out for free how little you can pay for your prescription drugs. Remember, we don't take insurance, so call right now.
800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. That's 800-689-0143.
Hey, this is Nicole Sullivan on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your pets, please.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
Hi, I'm Lori Brooks. Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert joined forces again this month at a film festival where Stewart introduced the film Unlocking the Cage, and Colbert was there at the same place to support his wife Evelyn, who happens to be a member on the board of the festival. The HBO documentary movie Unlocking the Cage follows the story of lawyer Stephen Wise, who aims to, his words, break down the legal wall that separates animals from humans. Now, we have here at Animal Radio been talking about this a lot lately, and how laws interpret personhood and affects animals. And personhood, by the way, is a classification that even extends to corporations under U.S. law, but not animals at this time. But in the film, which did premiere earlier this year, back in January at the Sundance Film Festival, animal rights attorney Wise and his legal team argue certain creatures with advanced thinking capabilities, those like chimpanzees, whales and dolphins, or cetaceans, and elephants, should be provided with certain personhood rights in order to protect them from abuse. The film will be opening on May 25th at the Film Forum in New York City before spreading to other cities. And if it seems kind of weird to you that Stewart is introducing animal rights films, then you might not have heard about his long-term retirement plans. And if you haven't, let me tell you, the comedian's 12-acre home in New Jersey has now been transformed into a farm animal sanctuary. Pretty cool.
We had him on. Not him. We had his wife on.
John likes pigs.
He is a pig lover. I didn't know, but they mostly say farm animals. And their farm is, I believe, going to be the 4th in that farm animal sanctuary chain that they're working with a group on. So it's a great gesture, I think. Mm-hmm. Other good deeds, like a good neighbor, State Farm Insurance has been sponsoring its own arson dog program since the 90s. An accelerant detection canine, also known as an arson dog, is a dog that has been trained to sniff out wee tiny traces of accelerants that may have been used to start a fire. I was pretty impressed that this huge insurance giant has had a hand in placing over 350 arson dog teams in 44 states around the country and also 3 Canadian provinces. All of the canines they use are Labrador retrievers because labs do have a superior ability to discriminate among scents that are found on a fire scene. Plus, a lab's nose can smell in parts per quintillion And I don't even know how many that is, but it just sounds like astronomical, doesn't it? Labs generally have a very gentle disposition, of course. They have a great love-to-work attitude and a very outgoing personality. And we're happy to report that the majority of the dogs in the Arson Dog program are from animal shelters, rescue organizations, or they are dogs who didn't pass their certified companion animal programs.
Woohoo!
I thought that was very cool. I didn't know it, and I just thought, because, some good things happen on this planet, and if you don't know, I thought that was a good one.
I'm glad you told me about that.
Who did?
You did.
You did.
I told you about just now.
Just now.
Okay. Well, from the worth waiting for file, Hal, I think you are always up on these, but I was reading this story about this thing I'm going to tell you about. I just thought it was the coolest. It's called Furbo.
No, I haven't.
One that Hal hasn't heard of?
Okay, this is a multitasking camera that, and there's lots of dog cameras and stuff that you set up in your home. Now, this one, you just put wherever in your home that your pet hangs out while you're away, and it allows you to see and talk to your pets. But get this one, Furbo, it can actually pop treats up in the air remotely.
Wow.
You press a button like on your phone and it pops a treat out for your dog to run and fetch. So you're playing long distance with your dog. It's supposed to be very easy to set up, and then the unit is fastened down with some heavy duty adhesives that come with it so that it can't be knocked over. But it also has accompanying lights, sounds, and a speaker which alerts your dog, like woohoo, a treat is on the way. So if your dog is sleeping or just wakes up and you're watching it, you see, my dog's becoming alert. You can push this button and it, kind of warns the dog, hey, this is your cue. You know how dog reactive training is. So Furbo pops the treat across the room and you and your dog are playing fetch remotely. Another bonus, Furbo's built-in mic senses barking, and then it immediately sends you an alert to your phone that your dog has become active again. But, of course, it could be used with cats, too, if your cats like treats like this. The camera itself is HD, features a 120-degree wide-angle lens with a digital zoom and infrared LED for night vision. So it's loaded with the bells and whistles. And it sounds like a great deal because right now Furbo is in the beta testing stages and is available for pre-sale on Indiegogo for $99.
Wow.
I thought it would have been much more expensive.
Yeah.
And they will be shipping out
reasonable.
the first units in July.
Yeah. Okay. I'm looking for it.
Wow,
you guys can send us one. We'll test it for you.
That's what I was thinking. Oh, we should be a tester. Yeah. All 5 of us. I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Molly the studio dog she's been a little demanding this week. I gotta say, she got a part in a play. Is that correct, Judy?
Yes, she did, in Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde?
Yes, in a play, yes. So she wants top billing around the studio.
So ever since she got this part in the play, she's really been a little different in the studios.
She's been a little diva.
Yeah, she has.
I hear a squeaker toy in the background.
You got to keep that going. That's part of the new contract is to keep the squeaker toy going. So
how great to be a dog.
Yeah, it is. Doc Halligan, how are you doing today?
I'm great.
Well,
thank you.
I wanted to talk ticks, a little tick talk this week. We talked fleas last week. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize ticks are a big problem. Are they a problem in certain areas like wooded areas or moist climates or dry climates? Where do you find ticks?
Well, you're right. Ticks are found exactly like you say in wooded areas. But you can find a tick in every state in the United States.
Okay, so no one's immune.
No one really is immune to having your pet get bit by a tick. And I'm just going to say this, that it is a zoonotic potential with ticks because people can get disease that ticks can get to dogs. And so the dog can bring the tick in on them or cat, and then that tick can bite the person, and the person can get the deadly Lyme's disease.
Oh, I've heard about that. Now, I heard that taking ticks off, that's like an art and a skill in itself, because if you pull the tick off and you leave some of it in there,
the head breaks off.
Yeah, it can still have do its nasty stuff that it does.
Yes. So first of all, you want to remove the tick within 12 to 24 hours.
Okay.
The reason you want to do that, because what the tick does, the tick has a cement-type substance. It kind of falls onto the dog, and then it's stuck on the dog with a cement substance it puts out on its feet.
Yuck.
Buries its head into your dog or cat or you.
Yes.
Okay, and then starts, drinking blood, the meal of choice. Okay. That was really good. So now here's the thing is, though, that when they transmit, if the tick has any type of disease in it, it's going to put it in your body within 12 to 24 hours. That's how long it'll take for it to put it into you.
Okay.
So the key is you want to remove the tick within 12 to 24 hours to prevent your pet or you getting any of these serious diseases. Now, there are so many creative ways I've seen to remove a tick, and it's actually comical, although sometimes it's sad. Like, this lady actually caught her dog on fire.
I know, I heard about people who
She
would
lit
do
a
that.
match, and she put the lit match up to the dog, and she had sprayed it with a insecticide that had alcohol, and the dog caught on fire. So,
Yeah.
yes, and I think they teach that in Boy Scouts or something.
Well, there's the thing that you're supposed to take like a hot needle or a match to burn it off. But I heard that actually makes the tick really upset, and it spits its juices out even further.
Regurgitates.
Regurgitates.
Yes. I mean, it just vomits. You know, just.
And I can tell you, I've taken thousands of ticks off, you guys. I even have a video on my website, how to take a tick off. It's really easy.
Okay, how do you do it?
Okay, so first you should put gloves on to protect your hand in case you have a cut and you get some of that tick juice into your body.
Okay.
And then you just take a pair of blunted forceps, or you can even use tweezers. Then you want to go over the tick's body. You're going to be at the neck, where you want to go as close as you can to where the tick is embedded in the skin. The only part of the tick that's in the dog, cat, or you is the head.
Okay.
So you go as close as you can, squeeze on the tick, and gently pull up in one little bump. And you just pull it up. And there you go. You got the head. You look, I got the head. It's so easy to take off a tick.
Okay, there you go. See, this is what summer brings around here. Just walking around here, you
Yes.
have the ticks, and then you have the foxtails. Between those two things,
Yes,
you're in for a
foxtails.
summer.
Just look at your pet after you take him out for a day of fun. That's all. Just look him over.
Doc Halligan from the Lucy Pet Foundation. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks so much.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Paul Rogers
And Cynthia Rogers.
on Animal Radio.
Just know that it's going to be all right, meow.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. That's 800-785-1673.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
We have Sarah Ellis joining us. She's a feline behavior expert for International Cat Care. And we're calling you, is it London we're calling today?
Wiltshire.
Wiltshire, of course, down the street. So how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
You're a cat expert. You probably own a few, right?
Just one.
Or they own you, right?
Yeah, he's here right now.
Now, is he a very particular cat? Does he like to be petted only in certain areas?
Yeah, he does actually. actually, to certain areas, certain times, certain places.
Tell me about your research.
Sure, okay. So I did a scientific study looking at where cats might like to be stroked. And the reason that we did that is because people often say, oh, I'm stroking my cat, and then suddenly he turns around and he swipes me.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So we knew that cats do like to be stroked, but at some point during being stroked, they suddenly don't like it. And we didn't really know where or why. So the first thing we did was we thought about, okay, where do cats make contact with each other, when, with their social behavior with one another? And they tend to facial rub their heads together and their faces together, sometimes down their bodies, and sometimes they wrap their tails together. So we thought, let's look at where humans touch cats and see what kind of responses we get, and is that similar to where cats touch each other?
Now, how many cats did you research?
In total for the study, 54.
Wow, so you got 54 cats and you sat there and petted them for days, making notes?
Not for days, that's important. For a very short period of time, for just a number of seconds in each different body area. And in the first study, we looked at 8 different regions on the body. Some of those regions are what we call scent gland areas.
Excuse me, they're called what?
Scent glands.
Scent gland, okay.
Yeah, so where they produce a chemical known as pheromones.
Uh-huh.
And that's the chemical that they use to communicate with their own species. So when they rub against you, they're actually depositing chemicals on you.
Yeah.
We can't detect them, though, so don't worry.
Okay.
So we compared, those scent glands are predominantly in the face. Do you know where they've got a slightly balder patch in front of their ears?
Yes.
Less hair there. There's scent glands there.
Okay.
Behind their whiskers on their cheeks and under their chin. Also at the base of the tail. And we compared this to other areas where there's no or much less scent glands. So along the back, the chest, the different areas on the body, the neck, for example. And what we found was that cats are much more receptive to being stroked on the head area, around the cheeks, under the chin, where the skin is really rich in those scent glands. And they really didn't like being touched at the base of their tail. So often people will run their hand along the head, down the back, and then touch the base of the tail. And we found actually that caused quite a lot of negative behaviors in the cats we studied.
What kind of things did you look at as a criteria for being a positive response versus a negative response?
Okay, so we videoed the cats, and then we observed those videos, and we had like what we call an ethogram, which is like a behavioral categorization. So to give you an example of some of the positive behaviors, it would be things like if the cat slow blinked, if they kneaded with their paws. All behaviors that we know from science are indicative of a positive emotional state. And negative things would be things like if the cat swiped, or if the cat went to bite, or if the cat turned its head round sharply towards the person who was stroking its hand, or if they just actually got up and left, that they didn't want that interaction to continue. And actually there were more negative responses when the owner touched the cats than when an unfamiliar person touched the cats.
Wow. So is there an order in which you're supposed to pet your cat?
No, we did look for an order effect to say, maybe touching the base of the tail is negative because people are just going straight there first. But if they touch the cat from head to tail, which would mimic how cats interact with one another when they body rub against each other, would that reduce this negativity? But it didn't. There was no effect of order there. The base of tail is still negative. But I should point out that in the first study, we looked at touching each area on the cat for 15 seconds. And in the second study, we almost halved that to 8 seconds. And it may be an effect of how long you touch each area. So I know we'll have listeners today that say, but my cat absolutely loves being touched at the base of the tail. And it may be that a fleeting touch there is positive. But in our study, the length of duration of the touch was definitely a negative response.
Well, your individual results may vary, I'm sure. What about the belly? The stomach area, the belly area.
The belly, we didn't even look at the belly because we know the belly is pretty much a no-go area. We did some pilot work before we ran this study where we interviewed and got owners to fill in an online survey about where they touched their cats. And we know that the belly already is a very vulnerable area for cats. They are evolved from a solitary predator. And we know that often touching the tummy is an area that they just do not like to be touched. So because we already knew that, we just didn't go there.
Yeah. How do I get your job?
I I did 8 years of studying and a PhD in feline behavior, then another
Wow.
8 years researching cats.
That's cool. Well, I have a strange cat. We have a studio cat that you would love to I'm sure, interview, who's loves belly rubs and loves actually to play with the fingers. You play with their little fingers
their
and
little toes.
between their claws and everything. Really very different.
Yeah, you always get, exceptions to the norm, and there will be the odd individual cat that doesn't mind being touched on its belly. But generally, we try, on the whole, to suggest we suggest avoiding it, because if you stroke that belly, often if they don't like it, they grab onto you with all four legs and all 4 feet, and they can do a lot of damage with their claws.
This is all very intriguing
stuff.
If you ever need any U.S. cat strokers, you just call upon me. I'll help you out there. I really appreciate all your time today, and you're enlightening me about how I pet my cat now. If people want to learn more, they can go to icatcare.org. icatcare.org. That's the International Cat Care Organization. You're the feline behavior expert over there. Sarah Ellis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We're going to head back to the phones for your calls for cats, dogs, iguanas, ferrets, whatever it may be right now for Dr. Debbie or Joey Villani.
Hermit crabs, goldfish.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Ross on Animal Radio. Please remember to spay and neuter your pets.
How would you like to save money on nearly all your prescription drugs? We've set up a special toll-free number for the RX Outreach Program. They're a nonprofit company whose mission it is to make prescription drugs more affordable to the masses. They don't take insurance, and in many cases, your prescriptions are even cheaper than your co-pays. They carry thousands of different prescription drugs, so whatever you're taking, there's a good chance they have it. No coupons are required, and this is not a discount card. It is pure savings on your prescription drugs. They specialize in generic meds for any chronic health needs you have. Call with your prescription and find out for free how little you can pay for your prescription drugs. Remember, we don't take insurance, so call right now.
800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. That's 800-689-0143.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
And, of course, Molly, the studio stunt dog. We're supposed to announce that now, right there at the front. It was one of the requirements from...
Okay, but no more music.
I have no control over this. It's part of her contract now. Molly, the studio stunt dog, now that she's in theater, she requires a lot of these little things. And can you just give her the squeaky toy? Maybe that'll shut her up for a couple seconds there. Okay.
Yeah, when is Dr. Debbie going to get special music?
I know.
I kind of feel left out of this. I don't have a hip name. I don't get music.
But yet you're still the star of the show somehow. Isn't that amazing?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe I need a special handshake or greeting when I come around.
You just don't have the right agent, obviously.
Yeah.
I guess.
You need to find a better representation if you could. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing?
Just fine. I'm a truck driver. I'm driving to Atlanta right now.
Driving to
but I'm
Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm on the way home.
Do you travel with your animal?
No, they took him out of the truck because, I don't know, I could try to get him back. But it's my wife's dog I'm concerned with.
Okay, well, I got the doctor here, so what's up?
It's a Chihuahua. He's a male. He's 5 years old, pedigreed. And he's never, he's marking my house, and he's humping on his toys.
Okay, so I'm guessing this boy's got 2 things dangling between his hind limbs, huh?
Right. He's not
okay.
My question was, if I have him neutered, will that stop?
Well, what you're describing, those are sexual behaviors. So while it's impossible to say it won't happen at all, they're driven by hormones. So an intact male dog is very likely to hump on objects or people, and definitely marking is part of their communication. So my number one recommendation is, he makes a better pet, and it's healthier for him to get him neutered. So yes, I wouldn't hesitate to get that done. And only in some rare cases do we see dogs that will still mark, or that will still have some of those over-sexual behaviors like the humping and that. And in those cases, we have to kind of deal a little bit more training-wise with that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so definitely.
Because, he's the inside dog. He only goes on a leash. And I've been trying to find a female. Made them, these are some awesome dogs.
He doesn't need to breed just because he's awesome. You love them all the same. And everybody wants to breed their dog because they want to pass on the good genes. But you know what? Every day at the shelter, even here in Las Vegas, Chihuahuas, pure breed Chihuahuas, are put to sleep because they don't have homes. So I would stop you before you even think about breeding, just for the sake of, breeding on his good genes. Really. So yeah, I'd embrace castration. Go ahead and get this little fella neutered, help his behavioral problems. And then also, it helps to, save a life, because, those pups that might be born, would displace the hopeful adoption of some other dogs that are already waiting.
What kind of cancers can we avoid if we get neutered and spayed?
Well, in male dogs, definitely testicular cancer. It helps to decrease risk of prostate cancer in male dogs. And there's even some skin tumors in male dogs that are hormonally driven. So those can be eliminated or wiped out with castration. In female dogs, there's a lot. Mammary cancers. If we spay a dog before they go into heat, we can make the risk of breast cancer 0. If you wait until after they've had a few heats or let them have, babies, that risk of breast cancer goes up. So spaying also saves female dogs from having the problem of pyometra, which is an infection in the uterus, which is very, very serious, life-threatening, completely preventable by getting them spayed. So, yeah, there's overwhelming evidence to recommend spaying and neuter.
Hey, Bob.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
I understand you had to pull over for this call.
Yes, I did.
What's going on?
We're so exciting here that we take your full attention.
I wouldn't want to cause any accidents. Dr. Debbie is right here. She can help you with whatever's going on.
Hi, Dr. Debbie. How are you?
I'm super today. What can we do for you?
Oh, my gosh. I have a black lab. I've had labs my whole life. And as a birthday present, my wife gave me a black lab. Again, which I swore I wasn't going to get another one because it hurt me so much when my last one passed away. But she's 2 years old. Her name's Haley. And I don't know what she did, but she pulled an ACL, or it's a little rubber, the part that keeps her knee to her calf. I think they said it was her ACL or the little joint in between. But they said it was going to cost me anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000, and it causes a huge dilemma because I'm not only a truck driver, but I'm a real estate owner, and I have 3 homes, 2 of them in Las Vegas, and my renters weren't paying me, so I'm upside down. I have my credit stinks now, and I want to get her fixed. And everybody that I've talked to, all these doctors, don't want to extend me any kind of credit. And I mean, I have assets. I have all my cars are paid for, my boat. If I have to, I'll give them my pink slip, whatever it takes to get her fixed. She's like my daughter. I mean, I'd do anything to get it done. But right now, I don't have $3,000, and I told them I'd give them $500 now and start paying them payments, and nobody will do it.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. My credit's in the tank. I just would like to find some doctor that has some sympathy for my dog, because when I get home at night, she just drags her. I can't even say it right now. She just drags up to me. She can't walk.
Okay. Well, first we'll talk a little bit about cruciate ligament injuries, and very common in large active dogs, but it can happen even in those little couch potato dogs that, just jump off the couch and blow their knee out. The honest truth is that for big dogs, surgery is really the best way to go. And it's not necessarily an easy surgery. It's usually a specialty level surgery. So does take quite a bit. And when listeners hear, oh my God, $2,000, $3,000, it seems like a lot, but this is really a huge surgery, and it is the equivalent of, having your knee explored as a human. Small dogs, we can get away with some, medical management in many cases and some other therapies outside of going to surgery. But I'd have to, support what you probably heard from the other vets, that surgery is usually the best way to go. The finances and the resources in getting that lined up, there are some different options in different areas, things such as Care Credit, which is a credit service which allows billing, and that might be something to look into, whether that's an option in the area.
I have done that, and because of my homes right now, I've had to file Chapter 13, which I'm keeping my homes, but it put my credit in the tank. I mean, I used to have perfect credit. And nobody wants to even look at me. They called me back and said, "Sorry, we can't." And that's not an option with my dog. I don't want to, I don't want to put my dog to sleep at all. But
let's talk about some of the alternatives with the cruciate disease, because we know surgery is definitely going to be the best way to go, and nobody wants to see you put your dog down over this. But this is a very real problem that happens all over the place, and this is really the number one orthopedic injury that we see in dogs is cruciate ligament damage. So it is so common, it is out there, and you could talk to 10 people in the immediate area, and many of them will know about it in themselves or in dogs. So if we can't go towards surgery at this point, I'd want to make sure we're really looking at your baby's weight and make sure that Haley is a lean, mean wagon machine.
Well, that's the thing. She's not, and we're not giving her table scraps anymore. We had a bad habit of doing that, and that was one of my things. I said we got to get her weight down, because I think is what they're saying is that the surgery, her weight is they won't be able to fix it at that price because they have to do more intensive surgery because she's such a big dog. And,
partly because of their weight, but it's also based on the size and the anatomy of a dog's knee. And then larger dogs, we usually prefer the surgery where we put a type of a bone plate in there. For little dogs, we don't need to go to that direction, but the large dogs really need it because they have a forceful, strong body. And obviously with Labradors, they're very active, so we want to have something that's going to hold up. And that's really the best thing. So at this point, I would really put our efforts and slimming down this baby. And many dogs, even with mild cruciate injuries, those that haven't quite gone completely torn, weight loss, pain management, and joint protectives such as glucosamine and the medication that's given by injection called Adequan, those can be useful to help control the pain, keep the pet moving, and then in the meantime slim them down so that they're a better surgical candidate, or to see if they respond well to medical therapy. So those are some real things that might be of value. And there are some dogs that I have, for whatever reason, family decision, older pet, where surgery isn't the choice we can go with. And sometimes we'll put a splint on the leg for a period of weeks. There's even braces, orthotic braces, which can be made for your pet that help to give support, because we know with cruciate injuries, it can happen in the other leg. So don't just focus on this one leg right now. We really have to make a good effort at what
I was worried about, because they gave me some medication and I give it to her and she can walk around. She's just fine. But then this one person told me that it's not really good, because then she's okay and she'll put her other leg out.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan of letting dogs be in pain because it limits their activity. That's old school veterinary thought from 20, 30 years ago. We want to control pain, but we want to limit activity. So, I don't want to let her feel uncomfortable and then that keep her from moving. But, so there's definitely some avenues there that we can look at. And this economy sucks, and veterinarians feel it just like pet owners. But this is a huge surgery. It really is a big thing, and there are things you can do now to make your pet more comfortable or to make her a better surgical candidate.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Doug Gray of the Marshall Tucker Band, and forever you'll always be listening to Animal Radio. Keep loving those pets.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. That's 800-785-1673.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets. You can ask your questions from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. In just a couple of minutes, Robert Semro, our Pet World Insider, with 5 things you must know about pet bowls. 5 things you must know about pet bowls. Apparently, other than putting food in them and putting them on the floor.
Food,
there's
water.
actually quite a lot.
Food, water, putting them on the floor. Come on, 2 more.
There's got it. Well, I'm sure he's thought about it, and he'll be telling
And they come in metal and plastic.
Oh,
I
but
see
some
this
people
5.
raise
I gave
them.
you 5.
Some people raise them. Yeah, I guess there is. There is a lot of things you can do with food bowls, but I have no idea what's on Robert's mind, so we'll find out in just a few minutes. Right here. Lori, what are you working on?
Well, there's a pet population boom in America, but we're not talking dogs and cats. I mean, they're, of course, included in the boom. We're getting other kinds of creatures as pets. And what you probably didn't know about some of these smaller creatures that we're now keeping
as pets?
Yeah, animals that you wouldn't even think about.
Okay. We do have some email for you, if that makes you feel better.
All right.
By the way, you can email us. There's so many ways you can ask your questions. You can call in from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android, and you can email us. I believe we all have our very own email addresses. They're over at the website at animalradio.com. This one comes in from somebody listening on our brand new affiliate, KTRS in St. Louis. They go, "Hi there. Couldn't sleep and ran across your radio show being aired here on KTRS AM." So I guess, let's see, the timestamp on the email is 3:30 a.m. So, yeah.
Seriously couldn't sleep.
Is that we're really on at 3:30 a.m. in the morning?
I don't know.
in St.
Let's
Louis?
hope that it was earlier and she just waited until
I think there's actually 2 airings there in that city. I think there's a daytime airing of that. So just if you're listening, check out the other airing just in case you want to get some sleep. Anyway, she goes on to say, "I fostered for a rescue group for several years, and I don't understand why many TV and radio personalities don't more strongly emphasize the importance of certain things." Without going on in this email, I'm frightened already. I fear that we've already let her down somehow. She goes on to say, "Dr. Debbie was trying to explain why a collar should keep his cat inside, which was great, but she didn't mention how outside cats have a truly devastating effect on the bird populations. And further, she didn't include the fact that outside cats are at great risk for acquiring feline AIDS. These are things I think we talk about pretty frequently."
We did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, and sometimes with the scope of the topics, I mean, I could keep talking and babbling, but I don't know that y'all would want to hear everything I have to say about outdoor cats. But no, she does bring up a great point, is that, outdoor cats, while we would prefer cats to live indoors where they're safe, they do have an impact on wildlife, and they can really decimate populations of just natural birds that are in an area. So it is more than just your own pet in your own backyard. You really do have more of a impact on the earth and the other creatures around you. So that is a good point. And outdoor cats, definitely more infectious disease. So they're more prone to have shorter lives, not just due to trauma and getting hit by a car or getting picked out by coyotes or owls or what have you, but infectious disease is spread among animals that mingle and fight, and things like feline leukemia and feline infectious virus are certainly things that are prevalent in those populations.
Well, they live longer if they're inside. That's the bottom line.
Well,
that should be the number one reason.
That and there's a lot of great ways that you can improve the life of a indoor cat. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, it's too boring." Well, you can have little cat condos. The little outdoor enclosures. What do they call those? We've had those folks on catteries, where you can build that off your house or put window perches, climbing sites indoors. Food dispensing, interactive toys. There's so many ways to make an indoor cat's life more interesting, so that you can't say, "Oh, they just want to be outside because it's more fun."
Yeah. Linda, thank you so much for your email there. And listen a little longer. You'll find out that we're probably more alike than you think. Just saying that right there. You're probably crazy about your animals too, Linda. I'm guessing we open up your wallet, pictures of all animals. Right, Linda?
We share your passion.
Who carries a wallet? Who carries pictures in their wallet?
It's on your phone.
Steal your cell phone and look at your photos.
There you go.
I'm so old school. Okay, here's another one. This comes from Jan in, I don't know where she comes from. Jan, well, thank you, Jan, for writing, first of all. She says, I love your show. She says, a stray cat had kittens and planted them in my yard for about a week. Then she moved them, but she still comes in my yard to eat. What should I do going forward as far as the kittens, like feeding them? I've stayed away from that up until now. I don't want them all, but one is possible. I like how she's open to that wonder. I also don't want the mother having more litters, so I'll contact the local animal rescue league about that. Any assistance would be greatly appreciated, Doc.
Oh, right. Well, it really kind of depends on how we're trying to intervene at this point. If we want these kittens to enter into the pet world and become adoptable versus allowing a feral colony to have the kittens and to remain in that group. And a lot really depends on your ability to help, to find resources to help, as well as how old the kittens are. So, for instance, if these kitties are still under 8 weeks of age, so they're still with mama, we have a good chance that we can remove them and that they will acclimate to becoming a pet. And the reason we want to do this before 8 weeks is really because they start to learn their social cues from who they spend their time with. So if we leave them with mom till after 3 months, 4 months, they actually will behave more feral. And it's harder to tame them to being accustomed to human handling, contact, and so forth. So that's really the big decision to make. If those kittens are within that time frame, then certainly I'd want to remove them, start taming them, socializing to people. It is a process, so it's not just bringing them in your house and letting them run around. You really have to be committed to doing it the right way. So if those cats are over that, you may just want to allow them to be feral cats, get them trapped, neutered, spayed.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
This is Glenn Close on Animal Radio, urging you to spay or neuter your pet.
How would you like to save money on nearly all your prescription drugs? We've set up a special toll-free number for the RX Outreach Program. They're a nonprofit company whose mission it is to make prescription drugs more affordable to the masses. They don't take insurance, and in many cases, your prescriptions are even cheaper than your co-pays. They carry thousands of different prescription drugs, so whatever you're taking, there's a good chance they have it. No coupons are required, and this is not a discount card. It is pure savings on your prescription drugs. They specialize in generic meds for any chronic health needs you have. Call with your prescription and find out for free how little you can pay for your prescription drugs. Remember, we don't take insurance, so call right now.
800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. That's 800-689-0143.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. You probably noticed America is experiencing a population boom of pets. It's driven by rising disposable income, people making a lot more money that they can, don't need necessarily for bills and things. Urbanization is contributing, and by evolving attitudes towards animals. The number of pets has grown more rapidly, they say, since the mid-1970s than the human population, to the point that where we are now, well, we have about as many pets on the planet as we do people. And that is true here in America. Psychologists say the changing way that we treat our pets, mostly dogs and cats, is evidence of a deepening human-animal bond that's going on. Now, That's the good news. On the flip side of this, more and more smaller creatures of all kinds are finding themselves as pets these days, and they're not as lucky as our cats and dogs. There was a great piece in the New York Times recently that focused on this and explored the ways that new era pets are kept and what they really need to be healthy. For example, believe it or not, goldfish. They are more intelligent, according to studies, much more intelligent than we think. Goldfish can feel pain, and they do engage in socially complex behaviors. But a current trend in aquariums, on the other hand, is it's called a nano tank. It's a fish habitat that is designed to fit on the corner of a desk with only 6 cups of water in it. Another interesting point made by the author is the way the pet industry advertises and sells animals kind of gives you the impression that these pets are cheap and disposable. Take, for example, the case of the pet store in your local mall down the road, where for $20, anyone can walk in and buy a hermit crab, complete with a cage that would fit on, say, just a tiny index card, like a 5x7 index card. But did you know what the recommended size tank for a good hermit crab to be in good health is at least 10 gallons? That's what they should be living in, a 10-gallon aquarium. Also, they say hermit crabs, despite their hermit name, they're really actually very social creatures that live in large colonies in the wild, and hermit crabs can live 30 years or longer.
Wow.
Yeah, who knew, huh? Well, the fact that those of us who are gardeners are out doing a lot of spring planting these days means veterinarians will soon be getting more calls about sick pets. Although lilies, for example, look beautiful in a garden and can smell wonderful, eating just a couple of leaves can cause fatal kidney failure in cats. So be sure to know what lilies grow in your gardens. They say the more dangerous, potentially fatal lilies are true lilies that belong to the Lilium or Hermiocalis species. Some of these dangerous lilies include, lilies you probably see all the time: tiger lilies, day lilies, Asiatic hybrid lilies, Easter lilies, Japanese lilies, the very beautiful and wonderful smelling rubrum and stargazer lilies. Also, western red and wood lilies are all very highly toxic to cats. But calla lilies, which some people call, they're the white ones that have a kind of a swirly end and a big yellow stamen that comes up in the middle.
Yeah.
Those are not toxic in the same way to cats, but they can have severe reactions as well. Another plant you may not have thought of, especially out west, sago palms and the Japanese kunji palm are extremely toxic and should never be in a home that has pets or children, because the seeds are very toxic on that plant, and the leaves could also be poisonous as well. Tulips and hyacinth bulbs, daffodils and crocus can also cause reactions in your pets, but it's not only the plants. Because, a lot of the chemicals that gardeners and homeowners use can cause problems for pets. They use chemicals like fish emulsion to fertilize plants, blood meal to make them grow better, cocoa mulch, which is used in a lot of gardens. All of those things can attract pets, but should the animal eat them, they are toxic to them. And of course, there's always things like lawn chemicals, fertilizers, bug and weed killers can be toxic too, even after it's dried. Your pets walk on grass that has just been sprayed with that stuff, and then they lick their feet and wham, your dog or cat has just ingested poison. So to be safe, put the number of the Animal Poison Control Hotline on your refrigerator so it's there when you need it. And there are lots of them out there. New York-based Friendship Collar has come up with what I think is a great idea. The maker of vegan fashion accessories for pets, meaning that none of their products are made with any animal component or caused harm to any animal, makes beautiful collars for dogs and cats that are paired with a matching bracelet for the animal's human. In their words, we wouldn't dream of putting anything on our animals that we wouldn't wear ourselves. And they're all really very pretty. I definitely wear them. All Friendship collars are softer than leather. They're durable and they're animal friendly. And the collar won last year's Pet Business Industry Recognition Award for Best Dog Collars. And even better, Friendship Collar is teaming up with rescues and shelters all across the country now to help rescue animals around the world find their true best friends and their forever homes. And the bracelet, I love bracelets, and these are really cute. It's just like a mini dog collar that is a bracelet that fits on your wrist, and they match exactly.
That's right up your alley, Judy, isn't it?
I love the matching stuff. Yes, I do.
I do, too. I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hi, it's Alan Cable. This week, what you should know about getting a dog. Don't underestimate the responsibilities of bringing a pooch home. That dog's going to be with you and your family for the rest of his or her life. Owning a dog is a lifetime commitment. Dogs develop strong bonds to you and your family, to their pack. Before you bring a dog home, think about the cost. It didn't used to be something you had to consider, but now owning pets is pretty expensive. Between food and vet bills, you're looking at about $1,000 a year. And then there's the basic stuff you need to have before you bring your dog home, like a collar, a leash, food and water bowls, toys, and a crate. Before your dog or puppy ever comes home, you'll want to dog-proof your house. Make sure that anything that can hurt your dog is out of reach, like poisonous plants or cleaners, any kind of chemicals, candy and glass that can shatter. Something you should know is that puppies, well, they're a lot of work in the beginning. You've got to house train them. You've got to teach them rules and boundaries. They're going to chew a lot of your stuff up if you're not watching them all the time. Puppies like to investigate and try everything, so make sure there's nothing dangerous for them to get into. It takes lots of time and lots of patience, consistency, and a dedicated schedule. And everybody in your family has to be on the same page. A dog can get very confused when different people in the house have different rules. So keep it simple. Decide what the rules are going to be and have everybody follow them. An important thing you're going to want to do with your puppy early on is to expose him or her to as many people and different environments as you possibly can, so that your puppy will learn to be confident. And you're going to want to continue to do that beyond the puppy years. It's called socialization. It's good for you and your dog because it'll give you both confidence. And remember, you have to be a confident leader. By giving your dog this kind of leadership, you reduce the chances that your dog will ever become fearful or aggressive. Put a lot of time, thought, and consideration into what kind of a dog you want for your family. Border Collies are really smart. Poodles, German Shepherds, Golden Retrievers, and Dobermans are also very smart dogs. Thanks for listening, and get more tips at animalradio.com.
This is
Animal Radio, baby.
Hi, Fran.
Hi.
How are you?
I have a question for Dr. Debbie.
Okay, well, what can I do for you then?
Well, I have 3 cats, okay? My oldest is 12, and her digestive system is, I have to watch what I give her. Otherwise she throws up or she gets the runs really bad. My other 2, they're younger, and they can eat almost anything. But my question is, I took my boyfriend, and him and I went looking at dog food, at cat food and dog food. But we went to a nice, like an organic place, and we looked at like the Paul Newman and the Manuva and all that, and we were looking at the ingredients. Then we went to Walmart, and we looked at other ingredients in whiskers and Imes and things like that, and there's such a big difference. My question is, what are the good ingredients and what are the bad ingredients in cat and dog food? Are they the same, or, I mean, what do you look for?
And that is a hard question. So you're really making this challenging for me. And the reason it's hard is because there's not a blanket answer that we can say, because every pet is different. So sometimes life stages or health conditions might lean us towards one diet for one pet versus another. Now, some generalities that I can tell you is that when you're kind of looking and comparing labels, now I have a lot of folks that'll say, I looked at the label of Old Roy and I looked at the label of this expensive boutique food, and they have the same actual ingredients listed, maybe in a different order. How do you know which is which? Well, a couple ways. One is that I always look at the ingredients, and we want to see, because cats are carnivores. They eat meat primarily in the wild. So we want to make sure we got a good quality meat protein listed as one of the first couple ingredients. That's very important. I would prefer to see that at the top of the list versus at the bottom of the list of ingredients. Now, the other thing that I look at is that I look at the brand. And if I'm looking at a brand of dog food or cat food, I'm going to look a little bit for the company name and the reputation of the company. If I am not familiar with that company and I can't look it up and see that they've done feeding trials on that food, and I'm not comfortable that that food has actually been something other than a little batch that someone made up, even if it is organic and they made up this little batch on the side, I want to make sure that I've got a company that stands behind the food. I can get a live person on the phone if I have a concern or problem.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
I am the family dog, and it's that time of year again. The one where pet parents start looking for Fido-friendly hotels and destinations where Fido is welcome. Make no bones about it. Pets are part of the family, and we like to sniff out new places too, and we hate to be turned away, especially when we're on our best behavior. So we won't be left out in the cold. Be sure to pick up a copy of Fido Friendly Magazine to find the best hotels and destinations where Fido is always welcome. Go online to FidoFriendly.com and subscribe today.
Hello, Animal Radio listeners. It's Robert Zemro, your Pet World Insider, here with this week's Animal Radio list, 5 things you must know about pet bowls. When you think about daily interactions with your pets, do you think about your pet's bowls? If you don't, you should. Pet bowls are very important to the overall health of your pet. There are all kinds of bowls on the market these days, and they come in all shapes and sizes, and they're made from a variety of materials. Here's 5 things you must know about pet bowls. Let's start with the material the bowl is made of. From plastic to ceramic to metal to paper, you can find bowls that are made out of a variety of materials these days. And why does that matter? Well, it matters because each of these has their advantages and disadvantages. Plastic and ceramic bowls can be less expensive and more decorative, but they can develop scratches, gouges, or chips where bacteria can grow and fester. Metal bowls and silicone bowls are more durable, but require care to be kept clean as well. Paper bowls are single-use and effective for germ and cleanliness concerns, but can be more expensive over time. I mentioned cleanliness and bacteria because it's so important. Studies have shown that E. coli, salmonella, and yeast or mold are common issues for pet bowls. Your pet's bowl may in fact be a cesspool of germs and unhealthy bacteria. It's imperative that you clean it after each meal. Add to that the fact that your pet's sense of smell is more than 1,000 times stronger than yours, and they may be avoiding their food dish not out of taste concerns, but health concerns. Let's talk about the size of the bowl. We have a pet obesity problem, and one of the simplest things you can do is select the proper sized bowl for your pet. If you select a large bowl, that doesn't mean it needs to be filled beyond the food recommendations. Pet parents often see a large bowl as empty and will add more food in. Get a bowl that's properly sized for your pet. And remember that your pet may have special bowl needs. Flat-faced pets can have a difficulty with eating out of a normal bowl because of their facial features. There are specially designed bowls for these breeds. If you have a flat-faced pet, this one change can make a world of difference for them. Next up, cat lovers, remember that your cat's whiskers are very sensitive, and many don't like it when their whiskers hit the sides of a bowl. So be aware of whisker fatigue and look for a bowl or feeding platform that avoids that issue. Finally, make them work for it. There are a wide variety of ways and tools to feed your pets. Switch it up and engage their minds and curiosity with a feeding puzzle or toy that requires them to work for it. They need the mental stimulation, and they'll benefit from having to work to get that reward of food or a treat. Share your pet bowl preferences and stories on our Animal Radio Facebook page.
I had a sick dog this weekend. My own Nikki was down and out and vomiting and having diarrhea like mad.
Now, what do? Do you take Nikki to the vet, or do you... Well, no, I don't know. I would think sometimes you wouldn't want to treat your own animals, but...
You know what? I turn into a doggy mama.
Okay.
You know, it's something that I turn into a mom. I forget that I'm a vet. but I did have to deal with it because I was going to be away the following day, and I wanted to make sure she was well while I was away. So I ended up doing blood work and some x-rays on her, and she was vomiting and having this horrible diarrhea and with really no apparent trigger. So ended up finding out that she had mild pancreatitis.
Oh, is that from eating like fatty food?
Well, if she were eating fatty food, she's on her regular dog food with really nothing out of the ordinary. The only thing I did give her that was different is, you go to the bagel place and they got those little doggy bagels that you give them. Yeah. They're kind of like a dog dried up, kind of biscuity style treat. That was the only thing new and different that I gave her. And I had done blood work 24 hours in advance because I was going to be having a surgery on her soon. And her blood work was normal the day before. And then the next day she had pancreatitis. It was crazy.
Well, now what starts that?
Well, most commonly in dogs, it'll be after they get a really rich or fatty meal. So dogs that get into the garbage, or say we share food off the table. We, share like a lot of the holiday feast with our dogs. That's a real common trigger. There are dogs where there's not always a real apparent dietary trigger, and it can happen for other reasons. And we see this a lot in schnauzers per se. So for her, I don't know. The only thing was, this little doggy bagel that I gave her that was different. But boy, she was one sick puppy. So she was on fluids. I had to give her anti-vomiting medicines, and she's a new dog after, doing that kind of care. So the bottom line is, folks, even if you just had blood work really recently, sometimes things will be very apparent when your pet is sick, and that's the best time to have those kind of tests when they're at the vet. And definitely fluid therapy when a dog's dehydrated and vomiting diarrhea goes a long way to make them feel better, just like it does with us if we can't hold anything down.
Wise advice, and of course, don't feed your animals any fatty stuff that could start this. What is pancreatitis? We never really talked about that.
Oh, yeah. It's an inflammation within the pancreas. It's an organ that produces digestive enzymes that help to break down our foods. But also there's the other part of the pancreas that is involved with insulin production and maintaining the glucose. So pancreatitis is when the dietary part of it kind of gets ticked off and it releases these enzymes, causes abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, and loss of appetite.
It's always nice to have a veterinarian around when your animal gets sick.
I know. It's hard when they're your own, though.
Yes, it is. Do you do surgery on your own animal?
Never.
Never? Okay.
No. I gave up on that a long time ago. My husband, who's a veterinarian, criticized one of my incisions in the suture pattern that I placed. So I said, okay, buddy, from here forward, you do every surgery.
There you go. Well, it seems like the show is getting shorter and shorter, doesn't it? I don't know. There's just so much in it. Thank you so much, Judy.
You're welcome.
If you happen to have a Yorkshire Terrier, a Shih Tzu, a Pug, or a Mini Schnauzer, be sure to check out Dr. Debbie's Kindle books, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend. They're over at Amazon, and you can get links to everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.com. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This is Animal Radio Network.